It's Open House Thursday on Yourview. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Mariam Longe. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I saw something on social media that caught my interest and I thought it was funny. There's this protest going on. It's not in Nigeria, where men are, walking in support of women and against domestic violence. And I think the theme for the walk is walk a mile in her shoes or something, and they're all wearing red heels and walking men.
Yeah,
are wearing,
I saw that.
Yeah, I thought, oh, I thought that was interesting, creative way of bringing awareness. But I was wondering how many Nigerian men would never go close to heels and wear them publicly on the street for who? But I just thought it was interesting. Yeah, cultural differences that our Nigerian men would never do.
Yeah. I was speaking somewhere to yesterday, and I was saying that they were talking about the girl child. And I emphasized that we're not going to go anywhere until our men take up that project. Yeah. It's not about women pushing it or us having conversations. The men must insist and come out because they're the ones that lead the homes usually. And then they can determine if a child gets educated, how far a daughter can go. So we need men actually championing lots of he for she's, projecting them out there. And this is one of the initiatives they could employ. Yeah. So you see, you know what, we're going to start using toys or something, just something girly. Anyway, how you doing, Nima?
I'm in a jealous place right now.
Happen.
It's jealous in you.
That my daughter would not talk to me for a while. Every day at that.
She's a big girl.
She said, oh, I spoke to her. She says I should greet you. I'm like, I did it to my mom, but it was not this level. I spoke to my mom too.
So she calls aunties.
Now extremely closer to her dad. And I was the one who taught her the numbers, the phone numbers when she was 4. I remember teaching her my own for 2 months before I know she knows my number. Yeah. But she'll pick up any teacher's phone and call her dad.
Oh, my Lord.
Only God knows.
I know how that feels.
One place. It's not,
it's not funny.
I know how that feels, trust me. How are you doing, Toby? It's been a while.
Yes, I'm very well, thank you. So yesterday was International Day of the Girl Child. Yeah. And so the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs, in conjunction with the U.S. Consulate, invited me to host the event.
Nice.
And it was all shades of beautiful. It was for students in undeserved public secondary schools. It was for students in public secondary schools, so females only. And so we had it at the American Corner yesterday. And there was a panel session that comprised of students from these schools. And I was marveled at their level of eloquence. They were really speaking with such depth of intelligence. And it just makes me know that the fight that women have fought to have a space on the table is not in vain, because the next generation, they're coming stronger and better.
That's fantastic.
It was really beautiful.
I had that same feeling at the celebration. The kids were speaking with such confidence, eloquent, they knew their points, they were confident. So you're right. The work we're doing is not in vain. All right, so we're going to go on a quick break. Oh, my son told me to buy him a stress ball.
Okay, why?
I just feel he needs that. He just needs something to stress. Some people get me angry. I just need a stress ball. I'm thinking,
okay,
you're 9 years old. What do you want? How do you even? What's stressing you? They want to get angry. They're upsetting me, but they want to get angry. Ross, you can't play football. You're right.
You make him play.
He's going to play that football. Let's go on a quick break. When we return, look at the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the nation. Nigeria leads demand for Africa's debt relief from IMF. Federal government orders road contractors back to sites. Tinubu needs not reintroduce himself, says APC. Illegal buildings pulled down in Lekki. Procurement fraud. EFCC recovers 27 billion and $19 million. Why governors can't ban mining by Alake. And Tinubu holds Ndigbo in high esteem, says Shatima. Okay, which story?
Okay, so I have the Lagos government demolishing structures on a drainage. So some structures at the Lekki, Ikota, Gegede communities in Lekki Phase 2 of Lagos were demolished. And according to the Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, the demolition has underscored the seriousness of the governor about law and order and restoration in Lagos State. He said that these properties were given notices since year 2000 from the time they laid the foundation for those buildings, and they continue to give them such notices to leave the floodplains and give right-of-way to drainages. So what they have done is they built and clogged the flood plains. And he said that the approved right-of-way is 15 meters, but due to the area, the high density of the area, they reduced it to 10 meters, and yet some people still clogged it. They cannot make the larger number of people suffer for one person or a few people's convenience. And so I'm hoping that this continues to reflect around the states so that we can avert what we experienced early in the year when the flood started.
Yes, I have. EFCC has launched a probe of some former governors, ministers over what it describes as monumental procurement fraud. They said missing funds have been tracked. Some of the missing funds that are being tracked are said to have been meant for the Mambila and Zungeru power projects. And the commission in their investigation found that these funds were diverted through VDC operators, and many houses have been purchased with the funds, but they are being recovered. Some of the houses are in Abuja, Lagos, and Cross River states. The commission says that in 3 different cases, they've recovered over 27 billion naira and then over $19 million. It's an ongoing process. The investigation followed petitions against public officials, including former governors, ex-ministers, and ministry officials. There's also another investigation that is ongoing. This one involves some officials of federal ministries of power and agriculture. But they're saying that once investigations are done, we would also hear the outcome of, the investigations.
Let me take APC's response to the to the Labour Party presidential candidates who said yesterday that the president needs to introduce himself and tell Nigerians his true identity. APC has responded saying that the president need not to reintroduce himself to Nigerians who already voted for him. And this is the man, according to the report, that won as a senator in Nigeria and became governor, 2-time governor, and all the security verifications were already carried out in all these various offices. In addition to that, the BBC also came out to say specifically that there was no evidence that the diploma the president submitted to INEC was forged, noting that the allegation that his certificates were faked, that went viral on social media, was false, and that it could not be validated. Specifically, the BBC said that it was given access to the deposition transcript by Atiku's spokesperson. This was a deposition by the registrar of the Chicago State University, where it was very clear that all the false information going on social media was actually unsubstantiated. According to the BBC, specifically, they said that there were 3 different diplomas for Mr. Tinubu. There was one that was issued in 1979, which, according to him, got lost while he was on exile. Then they said that the second one that he submitted to what he submitted to INEC, according to Atiku, was false. And according to BBC, they're saying that based on the diplomas received, given out in the 1990s, were correlated with the diplomas he actually submitted, because that was Atiku's main crux of the argument, that what was submitted to INEC was different from the certificate issued back in 1979. And they were saying that several times they issued in 1979, the 1990s, and the 2000s. Yeah. And the fonts were different.
Yes.
You're going to add to that?
Yes, they're going to say, like, over periods of time, they would change the format a bit. So if you were to ask for your result, that maybe in the 70s, there's a format it had in the 70s. If you had in the 80s, there's a different format. That this was something that the university would do regularly.
So say that the allegations on social media were based on the comparison of what was submitted to what was actually issued in 1979, and there's no comparison in that. Anyway, we'll see how it goes, because we're still waiting for the Supreme Court's ruling on this case. Any story, Nation?
Yes, federal government orders road contractors back to site. And the federal government yesterday directed contractors of abandoned projects to stop palliative work and return to site fully. And so this was made known yesterday by the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi. And he said that 80% of the road rehabilitation by FEMA are now to be executed by direct labor as against the way it was before. And he said the contractors that have been given these jobs are to return to site within 14 days. And if they don't do so, there would be a termination of their contract. So they're going to reassign their contracts going forward if they do not resume within the 14 days. He didn't state the number, the projects that are affected, but he went on to say that the payment of contractors would now be based on the work done with verifiable proof, as against the way it was done before, just like piling up a lump sum and giving them. But if they do not send in a proof of the work that they've been done, they will not pay them.
I think it's wrong to sometimes give contractors contract and expect them to find the funding. There should be an initial take-off grant or take-off fund that they should give them.
Okay, moving on to the Punch. Certificate forgery, article will be protest as BBC fact-checkers clear Tinubu. Air Force launches new aircraft, awaits attack helicopters. Ohaneze hails Igboho's release, asks Tinubu to free Kanu. Lagos demolishes structures obstructing drainages. Diphtheria kills 600 in 19 states. NPHCDA recommends face mask. EFCC recovers 27 billion naira and $19 million, probes ex-governors and ex-ministers. It's unconstitutional for states to regulate mining, says federal government. Okay, which story?
The Minister for what's his name? Solid Minerals, and his name Oladele Alake was speaking at the 8th edition of the annual Nigerian Mining Week, where he addressed the clash of governments, parastatals now. He's saying that the state governors or governments lack the powers to ban mining in their state. He was addressing Zamfara, Osun, Kebbi, and some of the other states that have banned mining for various reasons. Zamfara particularly, I'm with them on this. But he says that it is a constitutional matter. There's nowhere mining is under any confusing state. It is an exclusive list issue. It's on the exclusive legislative list and is not in any way confusing where that business is. It puts the power exclusively with the federal government, and no state governor should go ahead to ban mining in their state. But for states like Zamfara, who ban for security reasons, and Kebbi and Osun for other reasons, I think the reason should be looked into. But he went on and said, if a state government is interested in the business of mining, they are allowed to. They should just apply to the Ministry of Mines and Solid Minerals and get the right approval to carry on the business of mining. But they don't have the power to say, we ban mining, like in Osun, where the governor was saying he has put police around mining sites within the state. It is none of their business. Under the Constitution, it's an exclusive list matter, and there's no confusion as to where it's
all these times that we're saying that, they're illegal mining sites, are they saying this is with the
So if a state, for instance, has information of an illegal mining site, we inform the ministry to do the needful, not to find...
Another story in Punch?
Yes, so the Nigerian Air Force has taken delivery of 2 additional Diamond 62 aircraft. They said the Diamond DA-62 is a 5 to 7 seat twin-engine multi-purpose aircraft, and it can be used for pilot training, light liaison missions. It can also be configured for manned intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance missions. And it says the Chief of Air Staff has said that this aircraft would add a vibe to the service operations at the various theaters of operations. We also, the Air Force also earlier in October 11th had received additional 2 Diamond 62 aircraft. And they said that these aircraft have since been deployed to the operating theaters in support of the ongoing effort to restore peace and stability in troubled areas within the country. He also urged personnel to ensure proper maintenance, which is important, and operation of the aircraft in line with recommended best practices by the manufacturers. And also, the Air Force is saying that in no distant time, they'll be taking delivery of additional platforms that include the M346 FA aircraft, the AW109 Tracker Light Attack helicopters, and so on and so forth. Sounds all really technical to us, but we're understanding that it's just more aircraft in the war against insurgency.
All right, let's go on a quick break now. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So I'll still reviewing Punch. I'll take the story. Ohaneze Ndigbo hails Igboho's release. So the Apex Igbo Social-Cultural Organization, Ohaneze Ndigbo, has appealed to the president to withdraw all charges against the leader of IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, following the recent release of Sunday Adeyemo, popularly known as Sunday Igboho, a Yoruba Nation activist from the Benin prison. Ohaneze also expressed appreciation to the Yoruba leaders such as President Olusegun Obasanjo, Professor Baji Akintoye, Professor Wole Soyinka, and Pa Ayo Adebanjo, who worked tirelessly towards Sunday Igboho's release. And they're saying that they believe that this is an opportunity for the president also to release Nnamdi Kanu, allowing him to regain his freedom. According to him, the Biafran group also, Ohaneze also calls on all Biafran groups to cease all acrimonies and offensive media wars against the federal government, urging Igbo leaders to focus on the importance of building up the region for the betterment of the nation. Furthermore, they're also saying that they acknowledge the Nigerians who feel denigrated by Kanu's actions, that they should please forgive him, and that his release will mark a significant step towards national unity and reconciliation. Moving on now to Daily Sun. Ex-governors, ministers forfeit billions, houses to EFCC. Nobody took that story. Enugu government coal mining firm reached a billion naira settlement. Obi questions Tinubu over certificate. Dollar scarcity bites harder, hits 1,000 naira and 1,030 naira. Israel-Hamas war spread to Lebanon. Deaths from diphtheria rise to 600. Owerri stands still as Uzodinma kicks off campaign. Governors, APC leaders hail. And FG puts subsidy payments in 2022 at 4 trillion naira. Yikes. Which story in Daily Sun?
Diphtheria, we have the ED, National Primary Health Development Agency. Dr. Faisal Shaib yesterday confirmed that 600 people have died of diphtheria since the first case was recorded this year. He also restated that Kano State is responsible for the larger percentage of the cases as well. He says it's heartbreaking because, you know, we find out that 73% of the reported cases are largely children aged 1 to 14 years. 80% of those affected have not received any vaccinations. You know, I've been taking the stories. It's really actually the same, you know, information that they're giving us, that Kano State is the epicenter. It's spread to, you know, other states, especially across the north. Kano, Yobe, Katsina, Borno, Kaduna, Bauchi states bear the brunt of this outbreak, as there have been over 14,000 suspected cases, and over 10,000 of these cases, you know, are in Kano. But they also, you know, they talked about the impact of COVID-19 and how a lot of vaccinations did not happen around that period. Also talked about non-pharmaceutical measures that can help in containing, you know, the spread of diphtheria, which is practicing vigilant hand washing, wearing face masks, maintaining physical distance from affected individuals, and so forth. But the minister also said that there's a major milestone coming up, and I think it's quite an interesting topic. I think we sort of mentioned it even amongst ourselves, is the HPV vaccine, the launch of the HPV vaccine later this month. And, you know, just talked about why it's important to do it. So the vaccine aims to prevent cervical cancer in years to come, and also the importance of engaging our, you know, traditionalists to push the conversation about getting HPV vaccine. I've talked to a few mothers. Some mothers are not quite comfortable, especially because I think you do the first one at about 9 years of age. Our daughters are that age, so some parents are still not comfortable. But the government is saying that this is completely safe. It will help prevent cancers in our children, you know, many years to come. And yes, so I know that Lagos State had even mentioned that this will be coming quite soon. Some schools also, I think, already asking parents if they could sign on this. So I guess if we have any questions as mothers about the safety of these vaccines, this is the right time
More
to ask
awareness should
them.
be done
Yes.
at the primary health care centers, mother and child hospitals, and all of that. My daughter's school already sent a message to parents to, you know, to sign approval of their daughters taking.
Okay. Talking about mining, illegal mining here from Enugu. So a company called Millhouse Energy Services Limited have reached a settlement with the Enugu State government for paying them ₦1 billion into their account for, they've been mining there since February 2022 without nothing paid to the government. According to them, they have a license from the federal government, but the government is the state government is saying that you cannot be coming to our taking our resources and not even give us anything. So I think they were able to get a court injunction restraining them. Interesting, there were so many other companies mining illegally, well, not illegally, mining from Enugu State without any kind of settlement or recourse to the government of Enugu State. So in this case, Millhouse have agreed to pay the £1 billion, and they also pay 100,000 naira for every truckload of coal evacuated from the mining site in the area of in Enugu State. And I think this is really
your story.
So it's based on.
No, but
It's slightly different.
It's even strong allegations. So state governors cannot not know what happens within them, within their state.
He's saying he has approval from the federal government. Either way, so we have to know what the relationship between the federal and state government concerning this mining. If you have federal government, does it mean that you can come into my state and take it without giving me any kind of tax and just go like that?
No. Whatever is due to the states should be spelled out. Let there be synergy between them.
Oh, but I'm happy that this. Moving on, any story in Sun?
Yes, I have the bandit story in Niger State. And so bandits again came on Tuesday night to Zagzaza community in Munya local government area in Niger State and shot dead the village head, Malam Usman Tukara, in his house. And so this report states that the way the gunmen came into the community was different from what they usually would experience. That normally they would experience that as they're coming into the city, they would shoot sporadically. The gunmen would shoot sporadically. But on this particular instance, on Tuesday evening, they came in quietly. They didn't make any noise. They attacked people quietly before then shooting. And so they were caught unawares. And so 15 people were also abducted again within the states. We're hopeful that there's actually an end to this bandits attack in the north, because we see that we repeat the story.
Hopefully with this new fighter jets, can be able to bomb up some of these people. I don't know. The Nigerian army has received some new jets. Vanguard. APC will be at war over Tinubu's certificate. Inflation, protect poor people from high energy prices, IMF tells federal government. Health minister to hospitals, save lives before requesting police reports. Motorists alarmed as potholes litter Third Mainland Bridge. Senate, Lagos move to end Apapa gridlock. Southeast zones too crucial to Nigeria's development, says Tinubu. Former governors, ex-ministers, others under investigation. Okay, which story are we taking?
Let me take the Senate move. So the Senate Committee on Marine Transport, led by the chairman of the committee, Senator Wasiu Eshilo-Kunsani, were in Lagos to visit the governor and discuss the issue of the Apapa gridlock. They said that, Apapa is very important to the blue economy. And Lagos...
Count how many discussions on Apapa gridlock that's happening in this country. We don't build houses, but go ahead.
This one is blue economic context.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
On how it's important, and so the state governor, of course, welcomed them and talked about how important Lagos is to being an aquatic state and, providing more than 70% of the activities of that sector in the state. And they talked about how they'll be working together to improve on, the whole issue. I'm just hoping that it's not just talk like Maria just mentioned now. Every time talk, every time talk.
Okay, which other story in Vanguard?
So I have the motorists alarmed as potholes litter Third Mainland Bridge. I remember that there was a particular morning...
We discussed it here now.
Yes, talk about it, and, we all said so. And so following that, there was a report stating that the Third Mainland Bridge was going to be shut for 2
weeks.
Sundays,
yes,
to get it fixed. But then again, this report is saying that the same things are still happening. The potholes have not been fixed, and motorists are actually really complaining. It's between the Oboronshoki axis to the beginning of the bridge, and it's on both sides too. And the motorists are really just complaining, and there were people commenting on the bridge, commenting on the deplorable condition of the bridge, but a civil engineer, Mr. Victor Yenuga, said it's not that bad, that the bridge is not as bad as people are saying, and that we should just bear with it. But it is...
it has started causing traffic.
Yes,
you go to Terminal Bridge, just to get into Terminal Bridge, there is a bit of traffic. You have to slow down because you can't just run past those things. It's really, really disheartening. Let's take another story in Vanguard. Okay, let me take this story. Southeast remains pivotal to nation's growth, says our president. So according to this report, the president said that the Southeast geopolitical zone remains very crucial to the growth and development of Nigeria. Mr. Stanley Nwocha Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications and Office of the President, was saying this in Owerri yesterday. According, as you know, the governorship election is coming up very soon, November 11th. He was also represented by the President was represented by the Vice President, Kazim Shettima, said that all hands must be on deck for the development of the country. He says that he called on the people of Imo to rally around Governor Hope Uzodima's second-term bid, noted that his continuity in office was the best option for the state. He has done exceedingly well in terms of infrastructure development and in terms of value adding to Imo State. From the past 3 billion naira to 16 billion naira, he increased IGR to over 30 billion per annum. And so they're just campaigning, obviously, towards the November 11 elections. But according to Shettima, the president is very interested in ensuring that Southeast supports the federal government economically, and they're very crucial to the development of this nation in general. Okay, moving on quickly. Let's see how much time we have left. Okay, we've run out of time. Nigerian Tribune. There's a story of not taking peace, not negotiable in Benue. Army warns. 8 years after, 2 pipeline vandals who killed 7 DSS officers in Lagos convicted. Lagos to increase Blue Line trips from 12 to 52 from Monday. And no to TED Fund's intervention in private varsity, says ASU. That's from the Nigerian Tribune. Any story quickly? Anybody?
The Ikeja High Court in Lagos, they said on Wednesday, convicted 2 pipeline vandals, Clement Ododumu and Taiwe Monday. They were charged with killing 7 officers of the DSS. They were arraigned on a 10-count charge bordering on conspiracy to commit murder, and illegal possession of firearms. So they've been in court since, for a very long time. I took this story because, we had taken a story about, how long it takes you have people in jail and how long it takes for a conviction to be done. And for these particular people, since 2015, that's when they've had the case. And it was just back and forth to just make sure beyond reasonable doubt that they had committed the crimes that they had committed, and they did. And so they've been finally...
What's the Lagos Blue Line?
I do.
Please, tell us what's happening.
Lagos is looking to increase the trips on the Blue Line, that's Badagry Marina, the Maitu Marina train, from 12 to 52. And they are looking to start Saturday. There will be only morning trip on the train, and then they will stop till the whole of Sunday to switch completely to the electricity monitors or motor that they're supposed to use it on. So Nigerians have been notified.
12 trips?
No, it will now be 52 trips and eventually 72 trips daily.
Oh, wow.
So I'm hoping that presently, every morning I like...
That means you can take in the train now?
No, it doesn't come my way, but my husband takes it every morning. So I drop him off at the train station and I watch the rush.
Isn't that cool?
It's very cool. I watch the rush inside and I enjoy it.
Does he get to sit or he has to stand?
Yes, he sits. Okay. He has a carry card and just enjoy it.
I have a carry card that's just sitting in my wallet. So I need to use
I have a carry card too. Fine. I just want to go to that area for the sake of it.
No, but when my kids come for the midterm, because I didn't join when we went to...
Yeah, we didn't.
I couldn't make it. So
I didn't go either.
Yeah, I don't think the 3 of us
we didn't go. So let's try to plan.
Yes.
Okay, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we return, it's Thursday. We love to gist and just talk about life. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So right now, before we go into our regular Thursday topic, we have with us the Executive Director, Institute of Counseling in Nigeria, Dr. Tolulokpe Okoigaire. She will be speaking on World Mental Health Day 2023. And we know you're also a sex therapist, and you know that that is one subject a lot of people don't like talking about. So first of all, we'll start with mental health, but I'd like to link it somewhat to this issue of sexual relationships, healthy sexual relationship, because it's one of the things that causes mental health.
100%.
In people, the lack of it or the excessiveness of it, either with some kind of mental... but let us start with what is mental health? Is there a definition to capture mental health right now, especially in Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for what you ladies are doing. I watch your show and I enjoy you a lot.
Thank you so much.
All right. Yeah, mental health is the state of your emotional, psychological, and social well-being. So it affects the way you feel, the way you think, and the way you act. So the way you feel, feelings are your emotions, the way you think is the psychological aspects, and the way you act is the social aspect, how you relate to other people. So mental health is not mental illness. So we need to establish that. It affects mental health is everything about you. How I am relating to you people this morning it depends on the state of my mental health. How I'm passing this message across to the world depends on the state of my mental health. How somebody is going to step on me and I'm going to look at you and I feel like, oh, maybe you didn't see me and I'll just walk away. I could even say, oh, are you okay? Depends on my state of mental health. Or you could step on me and I could like, are you mad? Depends on the state of my mental health. I could be dealing with a wicked boss in my office. Maybe that wickedness even depends on the state of what I term wickedness depends on the state of my mental health. And I could be, maybe the person is wicked and I'm seeing the person and I'm happy that I'm living my life in that office. Depends on the state of my mental health. And another person is with that same boss, is coming to the office, is screaming, is saying, God, I don't know I'm going to survive today. Depends on the state of their mental health.
We have a very unique set of individuals these days. We're called the Gen Zs. That any little thing they say, my mental health is being affected. They don't have, I mean, I'm not Gen Z, but they don't have time to really rationalize things. Like you said, it's all dependent on the state of their mental health. So what are some of the signs of mental health issues that people can actually look out for rather than just everybody assuming that their mental health is being affected?
Okay, so I think quickly, I think we jump into things as African without understanding them. So whatever is raining, we jump into it. And in a lot of cases, we make mistakes. And I think that's the problem with our Gen Zs. Everybody is trying to say, oh, my mental health is being affected. Do you even understand what you are talking about? So how do you know you really have mental health issues? Not when you are mad, like a quote. Yeah? But when you feel low, you have low energy. You don't want to do things. You don't want to meet people. Your sleep is being affected. The way you eat is being affected. Even your sex life, like she was trying to talk earlier, is being affected. You have low energy. You don't want to go out. You don't want to socialize. You have low mood as well. And a bit of fear, you are scared. And there's a sense of hopelessness, a sense of, confusion. You are not seeing any way out of whatever situation you are, not at a deeper level, but you are just low.
Let me jump in a sec. Isn't that life? Life is full of ups and downs. There'll be good days, there'll be bad days. It can't be all uppity all the time. We're all happy, I'm so excited. There'll be days where that's life. So why should that become a mental health issue? Because I'm having a downtime.
Now, so the mental health part is life happens. How you react to the life that happens to you is the state of your mental health. So you could be sad. I could be sad and I feel like, oh, I wake up this morning, I'm feeling a bit. What happened? Why am I sad? And I'm like, okay, maybe something happened yesterday. How do I make sure this doesn't happen again? That is, I am self-aware. But for some people, they just feel sad and they feel like, they don't even know they are sad. In a lot of cases, they are just cranky, they are acting funny. So before you know it, starts degenerating and starts affecting the way they feel, the way they think, and the way they act.
Okay, so some people I would say, or I've used that term before, that it will happen to you, like life will happen. Someone is upset, me, like, it will happen to you. So can somebody trigger a mental situation, health issue in another person? Yes,
100%. But the flip side of that is, if you are optimally healthy, it is possible. Mental health is a spectrum. You might not be able to really stay at that optimal point because something happened, you move a little bit. But if you're optimally healthy, people's baggages will not affect you. So because you will understand that. In fact, in a lot of cases, when you do things to me, I'm like, oh, maybe you woke up on the wrong side of the bed. It is not about me. Now, so the state of the mental health of the person, the way the person relates to you, depends on the person's state of mental health, and the way you also react depends on your own state of mental health. So it is possible for you to be affected. How you are being affected depends on your state of mental health.
Yeah. So with the conversation on mental health, some of the words that is associated with it is therapy, therapists, professional counselors, life coaches. So these are words that we're hearing and being thrown around. And you're wondering, so who is the professional? Because you have a personal coach. Who do you go to? Do you go to a life coach? Do you go to a therapist? Do you go to a counselor? Who should you go to?
So I'm just going to say like this. I said it earlier. Mental health is a spectrum, right? So let's just say at the far right hand side, at the end of the right hand side, let's say you have optimal mental health, and then at the far end of the left hand side, you have mental illness.
Okay.
Right? So maybe what you call your psychosis, your schizophrenia, and at that end is where you have psychiatrists.
Okay.
Right? Now, in between, along this line, I always feel like therapists and professional mental health counselors, not just people that are saying, I'm a counselor, I'm a this, professional who knows what they are doing, should be at the middle.
Okay.
Even though you should be along the line, but present majorly at the center. So your job is to make sure that you are making people to face this side and not this side. But you see, when I look at us as Africans, I always feel like I'm seeing multitude facing here. I'm seeing one or two people just walking. It's a matter of when you are. So people don't get there before they die. In a lot of cases, they don't get to the psychosis stage. But you know what? Because they are along this route, they have messed up a lot of people whom they are also bringing to this place.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting.
The reason why I wanted to add sexual relations, because I saw your profile.
Yeah.
That you're a sex therapist, and I thought, how perfect, because we don't have people like you here all the time. So whenever I have you, I like to, suck out some information from you. There are lots of women and men who also feel that other room activity is missing. And many of them feel that it affects some of them have accepted that, listen, I'm 70, I'm 60-year-old woman, I'm not supposed to be doing this at all. I've already done it in my years and I'm fine. Others feel like, I still feel like a woman. They feel like there's something needed here. The spouses are saying, please, they'll go and find one, the men are finding somewhere out there. Some men don't want to, but do you think this activity is so important in homes, or maybe it's overrated, as many of us think?
100%. Much, in fact, importanter, if I have to say it that way. Right? I say it a lot of time. Of course, we say there's no health without mental health.
Yeah.
In fact, there is no health without sexual health. Okay. That's the truth. If your sex life is messed up, you're going to be messed up. If you feel incapable in the bedroom, you will be incapable in the boardroom. It is what it is. You see, when women say, oh, he's not giving me money, he's not making money, I tell them, it's deep. The reason why he's not making money is because his sex life is in shambles. You want him to make money. You're saying, oh, I'm not going to have sex with you because you're not giving me money. Because we don't have money, we're having financial crisis. The reason you're having financial crisis is because you're not giving sex to him. Because if a man is sexually fulfilled, it is. It's deep. You see, if a man is sexually fulfilled, you see, especially for men, and for women, but more for men, their sexuality is attached to their ego. If he's sexually fulfilled, like he feels good in the bedroom, as he's walking in his subconscious, he's feeling like, I'm a man, I'm in charge. That level of confidence, that high self-esteem, that go out there, that go-getter thing, it doesn't even know where it's coming from because it's in his subconscious. So it's a deep conversation. It's not something we can have in minutes, but your sexual health has a lot to do with your mental health. How fulfilled you are sexually has a lot to do with your mental health.
Now?
The women.
The women, yes.
100%. It is the same. It is the same.
Sorry to
Okay.
Go ahead, I'll come to
sexual health, when there is a dry up season, could it be an indication of something deeper, like a mental health? Or could you just be live? Things are tough in Nigeria. I'm focused on, getting things ready. Or is it just or do you think it's a deeper emotional problem, or is it a deeper mental health problem, or is it a deeper financial problem?
So, like I even mentioned it earlier, like one of the symptoms of mental health issues is because you start having low sex drive. You start losing interest in sex. So, yeah.
How about those that have over? And they will tell you because they are having issues, so all they can do is that.
They can think about it. So it's possible. That is not as common as people losing interest. But it's possible that people feel like, you know what, because I'm going through something, that's when I want to keep having sex. I mean, I'm sure that happens, but might be very minute compared to the fact that, you know what, especially for women, I'm not doing because is not working. Okay. Yeah, so...
So but I'll let you jump in a second, because when I see my mommies in church, they're happy. I can assume from seeing from outside in that they're not doing, or they're not probably overly active there. Maybe it's something they do hardly ever do. I'm just assuming I'm just saying probably.
Yeah.
So I am seeing them. They don't look like you. They look like very pious, mommy G, mommy G. And I don't feel like, and they're happy. Their husbands are successful. They don't need this for their ego to be pumped to be successful. I see the daddies are successful, mommies are doing well, they have great children, and it's very possible that the other room activity has been retired years ago, and they're perfectly okay. So when I hear people like you, specialists like you say, it is so crucial, I'm thinking, it doesn't add up. There's some people that they're not prioritizing it, and they're equally successful.
So two ways. Success is relative. You see, you could be looking at somebody and the person is looking very happy, but the person is going to the bedroom and crying all night. It is possible that the marriage is looking so beautiful and the person is feeling like, how I wish this could be there. So that's one. Secondly, another thing is, a lot of them too, you know, there's something that's called cognitive conditioning. They've conditioned, it's more like you are staying in your state of learned helplessness. So you have learned to, more like you have a niche for yourself. Like you develop a coping mechanism for yourself to stay in that place. The thing is, these people you are talking about, if they experience the other side of it, I can tell you 100% there will be changes.
Toby is finding, she's struggling to enter. Go ahead, Nima.
who was bereaved. At the moment of that bereavement, it was like, I need to have sex. I was like, how does it add up?
Okay, so that relates to what she was asking earlier. It's like a coping mechanism. It's like an escape route. You know, in grief, there's a cycle of grief. The first step in the cycle of grief is denial. So she's in that state, this first stage rather, is the stage, so she's in denial. She does not want to deal with that grief. So she's looking for other things to make up for it. And that is in a lot of cases related to the question you were asking earlier. It's like you are postponing evil days. That is what it is.
Okay, so for the younger generation like me, right, for people watching younger, and they're not sexually active, right? And I hear you say that it affects your productivity. For people that are not sexually active, what's the correlation? Because, I mean, they've not experienced it, but they're still productive.
You will be more productive if your sex life is beautiful. Now, I also say that it is also relative. It could be that, you know what? For example, you are not sexually active because you are single, for example, right? So that's the reason why. So you could divert your attention to other things, you know, that are bringing you happiness. And everything also has to do with the way we think and process all of these things. The moment you get married, you feel like, okay, now I am now ready. And you feel like I should be having it, and you are not having it, the problem will start. Or you are not getting it the way you want to get it. But if you are single, even though you are not getting the benefits, because in your mind you are feeling like, okay, I'm waiting, it remains small. So there is that expectation that will be keeping you going, and then you can get those gratification and validation from other things.
Let me link this to mental health, because I want you to help us understand how this affects the productivity. I mean, I know you touched on it a bit.
Can I quickly jump on this? So let's talk about the shaming. Women in our own generation, as they grow older, they don't have sex, or they don't even want to have it to fit into a particular class of maturity. And then you see them not optimal, mental-wise. Small thing, the person can spark up. Small thing, you blow it out of proportion. How do you help women? I'm talking village-wise. I know the women I'm talking about. I
don't understand the question. Maybe he does.
Older women,
okay, in
your 50s, in your 30s, your grandma, think, no, it's no longer something for a grandma.
Okay.
But it's affecting you. Your kids are wondering,
subconsciously.
Everything you react out of proportion. What is happening here? So they think that you are not mentally okay, but you, maybe, is it the sex that you're...
Could it be?
That you are missing something.
Yes.
So the question is...
What's the whole health? So what do you need? What do you need at that age to be whole?
Okay, so now you can't... you can't... I want to say you can't have sex with yourself when it comes to those people, right? It doesn't mean that they can't have sex with
Their husbands are ready, but they
Their husband they are shaming.
They are shaming. They are saying, oh, this is not.
There are no so you know there's a Nigerian or African thing where you're a certain age you should not be seen to be wanting things like that. That is not edifying for a woman of your caliber and age, you know. So you are.
So the question is it still necessary for that age to be
So how
active?
do you help those people so that they can be productive? Because they do not know they could get better. That's what you
talk to them that the sex is, or is it not important for them to?
See, this is where ignorance comes in, actually, right? And this is where sensitization also comes in.
Yeah.
We need to talk to people. People need to understand that they could be better. You could do better than what you are doing now. You could be flying if you take care of your mental health. It's going to take a while because, you know, one of the major causes of mental health problem is childhood, adverse childhood, parenting, the way you were taught when you were growing up, you know, your conditioning. So it is like factory fitting. So before you will recondition those people, it takes a lot of time, a lot of coming to therapy, talking to them. And a lot of them, you are talking therapy, they are telling you, what is she talking about, you know? So I think it's more of awareness, talk more to them, or maybe help them to see the need, why they need to do this. And I think maybe in the village...
Do you have people of that age who come to you concerning sexual health issues?
I see a lot of clients. It's crazy. People have problems in Nigeria. People have...
See, that's where I want us to go, because...
People have problems, right? And you see, and when people are saying people don't go for... My therapy is not cheap. And I tell you, I'm so busy. I book you like 3 weeks ahead at least, you know. So to let you know that people are desperate. People have been conditioned over the years. And the thing is even messing with their mental health. And they don't even know what is wrong with them.
I know Toby wants to jump in, but let me pause you. The reason why I'm so excited you're around, because we've treated similar topics for a while, and we've not really had a proper insight from a professional like you. Not so long ago, we talked about married women who they've conditioned their mind that this thing is not important, that they're okay. Unfortunately, they now started going to the gym just to get something. And then the gym guy, what they call them again, the trainers, are there, you know, being, so you're looking hot, you know, you're doing well, you know, and suddenly the places that have not been held and touched in years, that they've conditioned, wait, this thing is dead. Somebody starts touching, and it starts waking up. And they're like, oh my goodness, I am a woman.
I'm having issues currently that I'm dealing with in my private practice.
Exactly. Because we've dealt with it here. So as a professional that are here, how does a woman who has probably conditioned her mind that this sex is not important, I'm done with it, I'm okay, I don't have 6 children, I'm fine, I don't need it anymore, and there's something somewhere sparks it, and then the guy doesn't even care about it, but the gym instructor is constantly on her case, maybe just helping her, and she's so tempted, she doesn't even know what to do, she's stuck. How can she get out of it?
Orgasm is every woman's right. I'm not saying marriage should be orgasm-based, but it is your right. So if you feel that way, you should not die in silence. The right thing you should do is to speak to your partner. Babe, something is missing. What can we do about this? In a lot of cases, the man also wants to. He want to.
Yes.
You think
like,
you
shame? What are they telling you?
Yes. Who told you that there's something missing? Especially if you're married as a bad virgin. How did you know that?
And that is why we are having this kind of conversation.
That's when
so that the men should be aware. So what I tell women is, in this situation, if you do not know how to pass the message across, just bring in for sex therapy.
You know, go come, man. Nigerian men
no go come.
They will come. If you want the marriage, you will come for. It's, you know, our women, we are automatically an enabler. African women are conditioned to enable.
Oh God! So pause. They will. Enabler. I need to write that down. No, let me go on a break.
Happy woman, happy home, happy life. For the man.
Let me go on a break. We have to discuss this enabler thing. So I'll let you jump in after the break. We are enablers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Let me let Toby jump in but we have to wrap up on this conversation. But go ahead, Toby.
Yes, so speaking about mental health, there's a generation of people that are just having children now. Okay, so I fall into that category. where it is that I'm still even finding it, I'm still trying to adjust to the fact that I'm even living with a man, right? And then baby comes into the picture. And so sometimes I might just have a switch in mood, right? Could that be a function of my mental state or me just trying to adjust to the fact that this is my new reality? And I also know that there are quite a number of people, even for the male gender too, that have married somebody, right, and is experiencing some form of change in the way they process things. Maybe they always found out that this lady was always such a sweet person, but upon marriage, they found out that this girl is what I got versus what I got. So in that kind of situation, is it that it is really a mental health issue, or it is just people just trying to adapt to the fact that there's a change around?
It is a mental health issue because how you adapt to changes depends on the state of your mental health, right? So you could, and this is where counseling has to come in at every stage of your life. You are planning to get married, you are moving, you are relocating to a new place, you are starting a new job, you are putting to bed. When we want to go to bed, when we go for antenatal, the kind of antenatal we do, we clap, we dance, that's not the counseling we are talking about. After all of that, you also go for counseling. What happened? What are the kind of changes I should expect? How do when you are feeling something in your head, I'm feeling choked, I'm feeling like there's another person taking my space, go to your counselor, have conversation at every stage of your life. We need to cultivate that habit as professional counselors. So as individuals. So to answer your questions, how you react to every situation depends on the state of your mental.
We have to wrap up with you. But there was something you said before the break. Women are enablers. I think that's such a huge conversation. But unfortunately, we can't have it because I know you have to leave. But the matter that we enable what we see. We are the author and finisher of what we are experiencing in our homes. And I think it's important for us. We need to break that and pack it into bits and pieces.
It's deep.
It's very deep. We'll bring you back.
I will be glad to.
We'll really bring you back to discuss it. Thank you so much. Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, move on to our other Thursday topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Our previous guest, Dr. Tolulokpe Okoigari, she's an executive director of Institute of Counseling in Nigeria. I know many of you would have probably want to reach her. Her website is www.instituteofcounseling.org. Please, you can reach out if you choose to. Her numbers are 081 845 75377, 801 845 75377, and her handle on Instagram is Tolu_the_fixer. So because it was a sponsored segment and it was important for her to share her details so that those of you who might need some kind of counseling can reach her directly. Now, moving on to our topic of today. And it's about a video we saw online. There was a lady that was doing a video saying that people should stop saying their mind. In that video, she was expressing her views concerning the outspokenness of this new generation, how we raise each other, we raise our children to be confident. Speak your mind, they say. Don't let anybody hold you down. Say it as it is, And we all grow up kind of learning that, when we're relearning and unlearning ours as adults. They'll tell you, say your mind, wherever you are, speak up. Don't be pushed down, don't be coward. And then she's saying, don't speak your mind. Because if you speak your mind, people get to know your heart. People have something to pin on you. When you speak your mind in meetings, when you speak your mind with your friends, when you speak your mind in a marriage, when you speak your mind in different relationships, people can hold what you say against you. But how do we juxtapose that with the part of saying how you feel? Because when you speak up, that people can understand, they can learn from your own wealth of knowledge, they can learn from your experiences, and that's what Your View is about, speaking up, speaking our truth. What are your thoughts on this issue? Do you agree that we should speak up, or do you agree that we should hold or keep our silence, or silence is golden? Call us on the numbers on your screen, 081 076 41679, 090 4163440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourviewTVC so we can read the tweets. Toby, you want to jump in? Want to start? I think I like starting with you today. You know, I mean, what are your thoughts? Do you agree that people should speak their mind, especially when they are they're in a relationship, or they're in some kind of fellowship, or in a meeting with people? Do you think they should speak their mind?
I think it is important to speak your mind, but there's always a time, a place for what you say. So it may not be in the immediate, but somehow it kind of like relieves you. There are some people that do well with speaking. There are some others that do well with holding it in. So it depends on personality also. But for me, I would think that it is important to speak out. But there's a question of how what is said is being said. So this generation, I mean, I work a lot with them, so I know there's the work generation such that you are giving me, I'm giving you back. As it is landing, I'm giving you times 10 of it. So, and that's sometimes maybe why a certain kind of people kind of like repel the younger ones, because they are really outspoken. And that goes against the way we've been raised, such that we've been raised as a generation of people to speak, I mean the younger ones. But in previous generations, they've always been known to, don't worry, don't say it, just keep quiet, right? And so that clash is happening. And I think that as you get older with age, as you get older, you are able to now choose the things you would respond to. So for me, there are times when somebody does something and I'm like, I don't have energy because I'm still going home to attend to my children. Let me just save my energy. But in some cases, you would actually trash it out. So I think that also matters. And then I'd already linked it with Gen Zs and the culture of silence that we've been raised in. With. Yes, over time.
I think for me, what I understand the question is, do we think people appreciate it when you come at them with, I'm speaking my mind, I'm telling you my full chest? Do people truly appreciate a person like that? And in my experience, I don't think so. Some people will say, tell me the truth, tell me, I want to know. But really, from my experience, I find that people really do not like being told the truth or come at them with your full chest. Or you find that you'll be asked to sit down, please just tell me exactly how you feel. It takes a really mature person and someone that has respect and love for you to put away their their feelings of hurt or ego, and say, okay, I'm going to just listen to the words and believe that it's not coming, that there are no evil intentions or bad intentions about it. I've had conversations with friends or somebody I believe strongly is a friend, and when I hear the conversation somewhere else, and I'm like, but I sat down with you and I thought you understood the context. The words may have been hard to swallow, but you understood that the context and my intention was for us to have an honest conversation. But people, it's hard. I have also been in a position where I have someone who, even with my mom, I know that my mom has the best of interest, but there are some things she says that I report that to my sister. I say, can you imagine what mommy said to me? You know, but in what other way can someone be honest with you without them being honest? So I don't think people find it very comfortable. But then, as I said, if you have some maturity and you have some wisdom, you're able to separate your feelings, your ego, because it's really about your ego. Then there's the second part of this conversation where people feel that it's okay to tell you the truth harshly. I'm this sort of person. That's how I am. I tell you,
drop it as hot. Drop it as hot.
Yes, I'll drop it hot. I'm blunt. You hear the words. I'm blunt. I'm not lying. I just feel that there's a nicer way of telling someone the truth. If you can, there's a kinder way of telling someone the truth. If you can. Yes, it's the truth that you're saying, but why pick the most critical or most harsh way to convey your message if you can find a kinder way of doing so? And why is it so important to tell it so harshly and then take away from really the message that you're trying to pass? You know, if this message the message should be more important than, you know, your feeling of your justification for just being honest. Do you understand? Honesty does not always have to be thrown at people. You know, there's a nicer, decent, more
civil way
of sharing honesty.
Let me come to you, Nima. Your thoughts on this
Okay, my experience is a lot. A lot. It's a whole lot. So I found that people who come to you knowing that you're hurt maybe by their actions or the actions of their persons, let me not put it that way. They come to you asking you how you feel. And you honestly, truly open up. I come from a home where we are allowed to speak because we're all girls. My parents were really scared of us talking to the wrong person. So no matter the language you were speaking it, just speak your mind. It helped them in parenting. And so when I got the first experience of people asking you how you feel, I just say it the way it hurts me. So expressing it. But I found out recently that those same people pile it up. The moment you say, oh, I'd rather just, you say, you've always said this thing. You've always never, you know, and the person comes back and uses everything you've always expressed as you vilifying or something, and then label it in such a way that, you know, someone recently said, you're so disrespectful, you don't want to try, because I'm creating my boundaries. You know, I have learned recently, I don't say anything. I just do me. So you do, you're most likely going to get done. But I will not tell you. I don't have the energy to have the back and forth because I don't trust that you'll do it. Recently, I did it to my husband, sadly. He was like, Anima, I think you're not in a good place. And I'd be like, you are not ready for what is on my mind. I know for a fact you can't deal with it. And he'd be like, why do you think I can't deal with it? Because I know how it affects me. I am someone very giving. So if you do good to me, I will not stop saying it. The whole world will hear it. But if you do bad to me, be sure they will hear it as well. That's the kind of person I am. I take it all, everything in. That's the kind of person I am. People are wired like that. And so such a person now thinks, oh, the world cares about you. You want to go and be expressing how you feel. Trust me, there are more narcissists out there. People who will spin it and be like, that's how she says what she said what. Yeah. So in the Yoruba context, they will say, if you see two, tobari meji, mukondani. Don't say it all. Meaning his silence is golden. That person that is doing it might just want to come and know how badly it hurts you. They're not really ready to repair the relationship. So don't bother. Whatever you can do to, maybe if the relationship is such that it's so vital, it's so important, whatever you can do to hold it up, do. Whatever is within you.
I'm just trying to understand how we are raising our children to be confident, to say their mind, and looking at it from our own experience. Because looking at it, fast forward your life, you're not more mature, you've seen life. And you've raised a child to make her feel, just say it. And the kids are now becoming Gen Zs. They're growing up and they're going to their office and they're telling their boss, I know I've experienced in the boardroom. Oh, goodness, I got bitten so bad. You know, when you just open your mouth in the boardroom and one of my things was, our former MD, Mr. Lemmy, had to call me one day. After so many boardrooms, he called me to his office.
Auntie.
It doesn't happen like that. There's always a meeting before the meeting. This matter you're bringing out, go and talk to people. Go to their offices. Let them understand how it is, understand it, then form a collective perspective, and then you bring it to the meeting because you've spoken to everybody else. You couldn't just
specific advice.
That was the specific advice for a specific time. I'm just saying that I got burnt by speaking my mind.
I mean,
consistently.
Going to people that you think the thing affects. Once someone said to me, I know you will go and tell this person and this person when I hurt you. Rather than just say, I think I've hurt you. So I said, this is the height of disrespect because the way I'm wired, I won't do it to you. I'll be very careful.
Let me take Abdul and I'll come back to you.
Make your phone call. I know after this, you'll make your phone call and deliberately went on hurting. You know? So when you now change, the same people you would have gone to and say, this is how this person made me feel. Like, that's so immature. You know, you complain everything as if you should soak it in. So, Adam, soak it in, do yourself. Do them.
Let me take Abdul. Thanks for calling. You're live from Anasarawa.
Not from Abuja. I'm calling from Abuja.
Oh, Abuja. Go ahead, Abdul.
Yeah. I am a first-time caller on this
Welcome
show.
to the show.
In fact, I want to bring you back a little bit about the topic you discussed with Dr. Tolu. I think you need to be discussing on things like this, from time to time, because this is what is always happening in the society these days. You will see so many infidelity things happening in marriages, more especially in marriages. So I think we should be inviting people like that to educate, people about this kind of.
Thank you, Abdul. We'll definitely bring her back sometime. Let me come to you because I just read here, it said many Nigerians can't handle opinionated people, even though what you are saying is true.
Yes.
So we say it, oh, speak your mind, say it as it is.
Especially when it is true.
You now speak it. You now know like where you just start.
Especially when it is true. Imagine telling someone that, you know, the way you talk, do this, do that, just makes you outright evil to me. What you're doing is evil to me. Person will just store it. I'm like, oh, I'm doing something evil to you. Rather than address it, and tomorrow you say, you disrespected me by calling me evil. But you wanted to know how the person felt and whatever they interpreted your actions to mean, you know? So put it in context. Are you seriously innocent of what the person is saying, or is the truth of it that is hurting you?
So opinionated, I think a lot of people are using it, maybe is the new way of using it, but I've always known that opinionated people are not, they're a problem. Arrogantly express your opinions without recourse to the other person's feelings or anything. And it does not usually come also from a good place. You know, it's arrogant, it's conceited, you know, I will say it and however you feel. So that is what I understand as an opinionated person, you know. And of course, nobody finds that sort of person appealing or wants to be in the same room as that sort of person. Do you want to be honest? That's different. I can be honest and I can be kind, as I said before. I can be honest and I can be decent about it. And I like the example that you painted earlier, which is you can go from person to person. I found that sometimes when you express yourself in a group, how people respond in a group is different from how they respond individually. I think also that mistake we make, we're calling it Gen Z. Many of us made it as young people growing up as well, you know. Where as a child, you just open your mouth and you just speak. I remember one of the things my mom used to caution me about. She'd be like, you have no tact. Even before I understood what tact meant, she'd be like, no tact, you just open your mouth, you don't bore. I'm like, you know, and if I did not bore, I would not feel good. But then I saw maybe the bashing constantly, so I felt that also helped me, you know, as I was growing up, you know, to smoothing the edges a bit. I know, see, if you meet me, I'm someone that I can only tell you the truth, but I take my time, and you have to be ready to hear it, you know, if it's something you want from me. But if you've done something to me, and you say that you're a friend, I will have the conversation with you. But what I find out that even in that space, where I've made out the time, I've made the atmosphere decent, I still get backlash. And so I've learned. I will speak my truth. And I'll make sure that I'm doing it in a respectful manner. Then how you address it, how you take it. Now, that's your business.
Let me take this call from George. Thanks for calling, George.
Good morning, Morayo.
Good morning, you're live.
Greetings to all the ladies. Morayo, there is a saying that there is no wrong time to do the right thing.
Okay.
It is the same thing with expression of your mind. The truth of the matter is what should be expressed at any given time. The opposite of truth is diplomacy. It does not help. There are differences in people's nature, and there's a reason for that. When you draw from the truth, it is the ultimate benefit. You may not be able to draw from the truth instantly, but ultimately, it is the only source that benefits your soul. If you come out and you cannot express yourself correctly because there is no receptivity or the other person is not able to grasp what you are saying, as long as it represents the truth, you may not be able to grasp it immediately, it will eventually grow into it. And that's what he needs or she needs. When you tell your partner how you feel, why should it be a disadvantage? If you postpone it, you are postponing the mental illness like the lady expressed earlier. So the best thing is to speak the truth, irrespective of whether your audience is able to receive it at that particular point in time. Because the truth is constant, but diplomacy is not constant. It fades away with time.
Thank you very much, George. Let me come to you, Toby, in a second, because in the political season, we're not politicians here, but I know that some politicians will tell you that it is my mouth that put me in trouble. When we're sitting down with other politicians and I'm speaking, I'm saying what I want to do. And based on how I feel about something, I say it out. And people hold on to that thing. I know a politician who, he was saying all the things he wanted to do, how he wanted to do this, when he get brain comes this, he's going to do this. Not only that the political gladiators were talking to, they're just wrecking it. Yeah, okay, so this guy is not going to play ball. When the opportunity came, obviously he was yanked out because he said, this guy, the way he has been speaking, that he wants to do this, he's not going to play ball with the status quo. That's his own perception. So he felt that the way I was speaking, the way I expressed myself affected me. So is it therefore wisdom not to be expressive? Because this is what we're raising our kids to. Wherever you find yourself, say your mind. When they go to the office, the same thing. When they even get into marriage, someone will say, it's not everything you tell your husband, though, because you can't open your mouth, I'm in love, and then some things, you now go and say it, and in that context, he might be okay. When he goes back to think about it, digest it further, he can hold it against you in future. It's not the same way you did this, you know? So how do we marry being confident in who you are, saying it as it is because you believe it, and then not getting in trouble for saying it? Do you want to jump?
I think that saying the truth does not mean that you have to be rude. It doesn't mean you have to be saucy, saying that I've said my mind. You can actually say the truth in a nice way. You can actually process what you want to say. And that's the mistake I think some of us make, thinking that once I'm blunt, I'm saying the truth. You can be saying a lie and be blunt.
I'll be blunt.
Toby,
Thank you, Toby.
Wait, let's be serious.
And be blunt.
Do you want to hear that truth the person wants to say?
I want.
But sometimes it's easy. You know, he said something now, the last caller said, truth is constant, diplomacy is not.
Okay.
The person you're talking to might not be emotionally fit to be telling you that truth when you're asking, can we have this conversation? If the person now says, no, I can't have this conversation right now, I don't think it's appropriate, or I'd never want to have this conversation. I remember saying to someone in the past that I'm never going to have this conversation because I know how you're wired. I respect the relationship as it is. I'd rather just keep what you have done to me. But you know, I have changed somewhat. And you want to have the conversation. Are you sincerely having the conversation so we can go back to being good friends? Or you just want to have it because you want to hear something? Because the truth is what it is. If, for instance, you've provoked a reaction, you'll be ready for whatever it will bring if that person is of value to you.
So I have an experience.
I want to.
So when I first got married, I used to be very blunt.
Can I pause you for a second? Okay. I'll take Blessing and I'll come back to you. Sorry about that. Blessing, go ahead. You're live.
Good morning.
Go ahead, Blessing.
Okay, I have an opinion. You know,
That baby is blunt.
Go ahead, Blessing. Oh, we really wanted to hear him. Let me let you take. So.
Yeah. Okay. So when I first got married, I used to be very blunt. If my husband does something, I'm like, why would you? You know, and my husband said, please come. There's something called agbekale. The way you would say what it is that you want to say. I know that the intention is good. I know that you're saying it because you want us to get better in the house. But the way you're speaking about it is not the right way to go about it. I mean, so over time, I'd learned to speak properly in expressing the way that I feel towards him. It doesn't mean that I'm not saying the truth. I'm saying the truth, but because I now respect and honor his place, I'm able to properly say what I want to say. And so I realized that now, as against before that, if I say something, be like, okay, I've heard, and he moves. But now say, thank you for mentioning that. He applauds the fact that, yes, you are saying the truth, but it has changed. And I think that...
So in the examples I gave earlier that led to this, where in a political circle, for example, even though you have great ideas, there's a way you say it. Maybe they will not see it as a challenge or a competition, they just see it as somebody who's contributing.
So what I don't want us to leave here with, and I think a lot of us make that mistake, is always assume that diplomacy is you telling a lie or pretending to be who you're not. It is just taking something tough or something, a hard conversation, and just delicately and sensitively, you know, expressing yourself. It does not mean that you're lying. And I like what you said, that you're blunt does not mean that you're honest. You can be bluntly lying to somebody.
Let me go on a quick...
And, okay, you want to go on the break?
Let me go on a break. When I come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing this matter, and I got a message here from Town Planner Daisy Osho. He said that, Murayo, truth and diplomacy, where is the line? Because in you telling the truth, at times you must deploy some diplomacy. Without that, some truth may consume you.
Okay.
So that's where it comes about how you say it.
Yeah, was good.
So in the way you say it, it's also very, very important. You must have some kind of diplomacy. So you know who is the recipient of this thing you're about to say. And then applying diplomacy is how you deliver it, so that it doesn't come back or consume even the person, the receiver.
Yes, and I find it very funny when people say, no, you just speak the truth. However you speak the truth, you take it. My sister Nima will say that. But the way you will speak the truth to your father is different to the way you speak the truth to your friend. It's different from the way you speak the truth to your child.
Yeah.
So if you understand those contexts, why is it tough for you to understand that it's important to use diplomacy in talking to someone? Yes, we may be friends. I love you so much. And because of that, I may overlook what I feel, it's just her, it's just her thing. But was it right? Was it respectful? Could you have done it better? You can do it better. I'm saying in community, it's all part of community. It's emotional intelligence. We're always talking about this emotional intelligence. What exactly does it mean? Okay. You're putting your sensitivities and the other person into consideration. So you're not taking the truth away. You're not being less honest. But you're also putting that person. See, I have a friend who has, who's not feeling well. Because she's not feeling well, she did something I did not like. You think I'm going to come at her with all the anger? No, because I understand where it's coming from. But it still hurts me. Sis, what you did hurt me. I know it's because I still pass across my heart and the truth.
You were not
but I put into consideration what
some people talk to you, they listen to respond.
Yes.
They count gestures, they count facial expressions, they count pitch. As they're talking to you. Okay, you have avoided the conversation. You know you cannot have it in the right frame of mind, maybe because of the way and time and manner that thing was done to hurt you. So you are trying to avoid this confrontation because you just cannot have that conversation and feel whole. There are times I've had conversations with people and I go back and I'm regretting that, I wish I never had this conversation because I've expressed so much. You cannot really control that expression. And the person will be like, no. And recently someone asked me for something and I said, I won't do that thing because the consequence of it will lie with me. And he was like, what do you mean by that? I said, no, the last time you made me do things like this, they were not really, they were for your convenience and for my inconvenience, and I don't think I should continue. What do you mean? I've been supportive of you and all of that. I'd be like, okay, do you need examples? Because me, I will give you date and time. So I gave you date and time and be like, so you did not forget that in that time. You were not listening.
No, you were not listening.
I don't keep date and time.
The truth is, were you listening so that we can have a good relationship, or you were just looking for a way to nail the person, really? Because the reaction that day made me wish I never said anything.
I know what you mean.
If something kept going, I'd be like, please, can we just leave it? Because I don't appreciate you coming at me with suggestions that, I only know we pay you. I think it's always one-sided. I didn't want to actually say it is. Because maybe because of the relationship is one elderly, younger person thing. I just wanted to avoid it. But you won't let it rest. And then I open up and you'll be like, it's not normal. Child of your age should never ever say such a thing. Excuse me? Do you want to hear this thing or you don't? Leave me, really. So leave me and let me quiet my quiet.
That's an interesting perspective. Let me take this call from Niger State. Samuel, thanks for calling, Samuel. You're live. I think we lost that call. Toby, you want to jump in?
Yes, I think that quite a number of people are not ready to put in the work required to get emotionally intelligent. So we will just see it as this is how I am and excuse that behavior as one of those things. But when we're able to really sit down and say, this way I'm behaving, I need to sit down and deal with it. Because there are some places that you really cannot react in a particular way. And so you are doing that in some other instances. Why are you doing that? Why are you not giving it hot as you are giving it hot? You see, and the definition of emotional intelligence is that it is the ability to manage both your own emotions and understand the emotions of people around you. So that buttresses when you were saying that even though the person wasn't feeling fine, you were able to still, you were hot, yes, but you were able to manage it. And I think a lot of people have not still gotten to that position of managing their emotions.
And I think we should not make this also about the fact that we're just being, I think in every conversation, also go with this in mind that it may still not be received as no matter how well you arrange, it may still not be received or appreciated. You know, someone may still misunderstand you. And so that's where I say relationships matter. If that person means something so much to you, you can always go back and have another conversation. But if someone has already made up their minds about you, whatever you say, however you say it, it will be a problem. So always have that at the back of your mind. And then when you are leaving that conversation, knowing that I have spoken my truth and I was not disrespectful in this conversation.
Let me take this call from Kalechi. She's calling from Shasha. Thanks for calling, Kalechi.
Moraya Uncle, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me very well?
Go ahead.
Moraya, a bottle of food for this kind of topic where you bring. You see, let me tell you something, Moraya. There are so many dimensions to this topic. This topic is very, very important. See, I would suggest, please bring an expert to talk so much on this topic, especially the issue of truth and diplomacy is very, very important. Because I am really seriously battling with what I just said. I suffered untold inferiority complex because of the way our parents treated us. You can imagine whenever our father was around, my sisters would go and hide under the bed because of the way he treated us. So I'm still struggling with it. So if you will bring an expert to talk about it, I'll be very, very happy. Thank you
very much, Kelechi. So we're still going back to how we are raising our kids, because the modern child will tell you, when a child is in school, and she said that they didn't allow me to talk, or the teacher did not pick me. I think I mentioned it here where my daughter was saying that, oh, she did very well and she wasn't picked. And I said, no, you have to open up and tell them. But how do we help out? How do we raise our children to be confident, speak their mind, but yet apply wisdom? You know where, when, and even how to say their truth, because that's the new thing. Speak your truth. Say it as it is. Be confident, you know. How do we marry it?
Can we first of all put emotional intelligence in perspective? It is a two-way thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Because the way we put it is always when we are receiving something. You're not always from your side. You that you want to have a conversation, are you ready emotionally for that conversation? When you're ready for it, you really don't... I relate a lot with younger people. In fact, I have more Gen Zs that are closer to me in the name of mentorship, we become family, that I relate with. And I don't clash with them. I understand when they talk to me. In fact, I joke about it and I don't carry the respect, madam, all of that on the head. Because that's how they are wired to talk. But the relationship is so important to me. I look at all the good they give, that I don't disrespect them right back. Emotional intelligence means that you yourself are ready. Somebody who's had the relationship with you, putting so much work into it, and you see something dwindling recently, and then you feel that, oh no, there must be a perspective and way you put it to me. You know Yolu is in her 60s. She's not by any standard my mate. But we've related all these years because she knows, oh, when she's upset, this is how she'll talk. And when she's not upset, this is how she talks. So there are things that she wants to say to me. She'll wait until maybe I'm in a particular place and say, I've been trying to call your attention to this because I don't want it to be when you are upset with that issue. That's love in a relationship.
Yeah.
That's love. There's no other way to see it. But somebody who doesn't really love you will want to have a conversation because they want to nail you.
Yeah.
And the case in reference is addressing it, and we're not seeing it. It's been a game that has been played. In those days, they'll say, you cannot tell an adult that they're lying.
Yes.
So you want to diplomatically tell an adult that she's lying. You'll now be going all in circles.
Yeah, I got to do it.
You do it, and the adults still forward. They'll say, "Okay, long fact, but she often your mother journey," and still does that to you. But a mature adult will now come and be like, "Oh, I didn't know," and you know, because it's me, you are going to forgive me anyway. I'm really sorry. That's a proper intelligence. It's a two-way thing. But some adults will be manipulative and say, "You're just so
offended."
Yeah. You don't.
Let me take this call from Chioma.
I don't box you in.
Chioma, thanks for calling.
Trying to talk about.
You're live.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Chioma.
Good morning, Chioma.
Yeah,
welcome to the show.
Oh, happy for you.
I just want to say I appreciate what you people do each morning.
Thank
you make
you.
my morning every day.
Thank you.
I just want to lend my contribution to what you are discussing. I just want to say that most of us are not ready for the truth. Even when they cajole people to say your mind, there is no problem. But really when you say your mind, they feel hurt. So that's why the person is saying that you shouldn't open your mouth and say, oh, you should hold back some, because people are not ready to hear the truth most times. So even for me, I've also been a victim of that. Sometimes people will say, let's share, what is the problem? Let's talk. But yes, when you say, they are not even ready to, hear what you are saying. And before you know, you'll be tagged as the wrong person. And even people, even if it's in a group, you'll be seeing the way they will look at you as this one is really different, just because you are saying your mind and you are saying the truth.
Somebody said, thank you very much, Chema, for your thoughts. The Bible says, don't get into an argument with a fool, else you begin to look like him or her. Reply a fool lest he thinks he is wise. The thing now is to ask for wisdom to know which fool we are dealing with per time. And if it's a fool that needs a response from us, so as to do. So my question is, if you are the person that have chosen to keep quiet and not engage, I'd rather keep to myself. My question is that healthy? As you are bottling up a lot of emotions, like, you know what, I have this feeling about you, I'm not going to say it because I don't know how you're going to take it. I have this feeling about you, I will just keep it all with me. My question is it therefore healthy for me to just bottle up so many emotions, like, you know what, and just be like, I can't say it before they go and say I'm this. Would you rather that?
No, not rather that. And that's not the opposite of being blunt. It's diplomacy that is. To keep it in is not healthy at all. So, but what we're saying is that you may not be the sort of person that wants to have a full-on confrontation where we are shouting and screaming at each other. You are going to.
Ma'am, I don't want you to assume my expression means I'm confronting you. I can just say my mind. I'm not. I can even say it nicely, as Toby has suggested. But even no matter how nicely I say it, the way you still take it or receive it is still negative because it's based on your own emotional state of mind at the time. So I say it nicely and respectfully because I don't want to hold that feeling in. But you still receive it negatively. So my question is, like, do I just keep it to myself?
No, like I said before, as long as you're sure that you have spoken the truth and you've done it as respectfully as you can, you're good. That person now, it's on the person now to come to you and say, if the person is respectful, that I did not like the way you spoke to me, you should have called me aside. Or, you should have called me aside. Or, I feel like you were targeting me. What did I do to you? And then you can say, no, I didn't mean to target you, this and this. So it gives you now another opportunity to have that conversation. But to hold it in is not, nobody is asking that. And to say that because someone did not receive your message in the way that you wanted to, should stop you. Do you understand? I spoke to her and she did not just say, oh, thank you. You need to understand that nobody really likes being criticized. Nobody really likes being put on the spot and called out, especially when you do not expect it. Imagine I have left here today and I think Mariah and I are cool. Then I sit here tomorrow morning and she tells me off. I'm like, where did I come from? My first response is anger. Even if I don't express it with words, I'll be angry.
Some will call it tough love when it comes to parent-child. We discussed it recently. Yeah, but so father will just tell you, are you this silly person? Are you one who's sleeping around? They're just saying how they feel. But a parent got in trouble just yesterday. We discussed it. The parent that was telling their child about the iPhone. It's the same thing. It's still telling you my mind. As a father, I'm telling you my mind that do you want to be sleeping around for iPhone 8? It's the same context.
That the respect. So as emotional intelligence still is that you know where you are goofing before you ask for a conversation. So you're not listening to the person. Oh, for instance, I had done something to upset Toby. And then I come to Toby, Toby, why are you frowning? Is it because I talked to you that time? But in my mind, I'm not admitting that I have offended her. I just came to poke her. Do you understand? And then when she goes up, like, see this one, I never finished with you. I go show you, that kind of a thing. If, for instance, I come to Toby, I'll be like, I thought I was doing something right, but I feel that it's offended you. I hope I didn't offend you. And Toby goes, yes, it actually offended me. Or maybe she then loses, you offend me, die. I hated the way you spoke to me. Or maybe her voice now goes a bit pitch higher, a third person hears. Am I admitting that, I would not do this again? I didn't like the way it made her feel.
You're still insisting on the fact that the other person has to make sure that you're good with it.
That's where I'm going. Because that's why we're having this conversation, is how the other person receives it. There's a saying in my place, my mom used to emphasize, whatever you say is what that can be held against you. Good. Whatever you think. Even my people in Ibia will say, Ibia, like you're friends with somebody, but only you know in your heart. As in, your conditions or, these words sort of prepare you to just keep things more than have this conversation.
But do you know something with Minima? Do you know that the loud ones, Toby, let me let you jump in here. The loud ones seem to get the more respect. Those are who come in and say, listen, don't try me. That person, you can't try that person. You know. She will tell you as it is. She'll drop it as hot. And because of that, they earn a lot of regard, respect, even for their colleagues, for their friends. I'm just saying that the perception we see is that...
Are you sure? Those are the ones that are always blindsided by the lack of support when they expect support. Because you run around, you run through people like a burning
hurricane,
and you pass. And you think, I've put them in their places, everybody is good. Then something comes up, and then you're surprised that you do not get the support that you had put fear, because you put fear in people, you're not getting the support. And then someone you feel, that one that hardly ever shows up or hardly ever talks or anything, is getting the support. People always remember how you made them feel. Forget the words.
Yeah,
when the last time I was with
now.
you, how did you make me feel?
It's the same way.
Until if someone comes back to you and you apologize, it's okay. See, the first time, we're not saying this conversation thing is perfect, that will always be perfect. Sometimes we will mishear without meaning to. As long as we can come back and say that we're sorry and we move on. But you also need to know that we do have enemies. We have people who do not like us. We have people who are waiting for us to make a mistake so that they can hold it against us. You're in an office environment. There's some people who want your position. There's some people who think you're getting too much attention from maybe top management or something, and they want to be in that position. They are constantly waiting on you to make a mistake in the words that you say. How would you deal with that? You're not going to...
Don't you think it's better not to say anything to such a person?
No.
Okay, let me pause you.
You have to speak.
Yeah. Okay,
You have to write a communique, you have to write something, and they will use it against you. But that does not mean that you will not speak. You have to do your job. But in doing your job, somebody's...
Okay, wait. Toby will jump in there. Let me take Charles and I'll come to Toby. Charles, thanks for calling. You're live from Ikorodu.
Good morning. This is my first time calling.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, my name is Charles from Ikorodu.
Yes.
Basically, I was watching your program just now. I think the conversation here is that we are trying to have a perfect discussion with people, which is not possible.
Yeah.
Right? So I think what we should encourage people to do is they should work more on their presentation, but don't expect a perfect acceptance of whatever you want to tell people. Because no matter how you present it to people, some people will definitely not going to take it the way you want them to take it, and you can't take that away, right? So looking out to have a perfect conversation with people, I think it's something that is impossible. It doesn't exist anywhere, right? Yeah. So what we can just do is just to also encourage people to work on the way they present. Regardless of how you present it, it doesn't still matter anyway.
Okay. Thank you very much, Charles. Go ahead, Toby.
So I'm thinking, is it possible that if you're speaking with somebody and the person doesn't agree with you, can you escalate it? So, for instance, within the work environment, because sometimes that kind of like reduces the back and forth among colleagues. So if you have, maybe you do something to me and I don't like it, and I've told you about it once, twice, in the kind of instance when you're sending it to HR as a matter of let's address this professionally, it may now mean that, yes, you're speaking your mind, but people can now be wondering.
They have not heard that they don't go to court and come back and remain family.
I mean,
now you wrote to HR over something we could have discussed. And see the matter.
No, she says
you
have discussed it a few times.
And you're not agreeing. That thing is still persisting. And so that brings me to this conversation that sometimes, even within marriage, you may choose, maybe you get me upset in the place of work, and I don't want to address you. I probably might get home to speak with my husband.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, it's okay.
So, how is it that if someone gets you upset, you can speak with a third party, right? As against addressing it because you don't want to
emotionally engage.
Yes, and have the back and forth that is involved within those conversations.
And because we need to put in perspective, if you're talking to a colleague, maybe easier. What if it's a boss?
Give you comments on social media because you have to wrap up. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Boss relationship is really that angle to this conversation.
William Davis says freedom of speech is between you and your government, not between people around, because people hate to hear the truth, no matter the way you present it. Ogumola Emmanuel says, and again, if you delicately say the truth, you lose the effects and essence it is supposed to have. Being emotionally intelligent is truly important, but I still find it hypocritical to mice the truth. Truth is truth. If it is not whole.
Anymore?
Chichi Unscripted says, my husband would rather say nothing at all and just avoid you. Me, I will talk. I only keep quiet.
That's why they work together.
I only keep quiet if I'm done with you.
Ogumola Emmanuel says, truth is never disrespectful, irrespective of how it is revealed. But understanding the receptors is what is important. Some would like to hear your blunt opinion privately rather than in a congregation. There are delicate ways of discussing hard issues. Dan Ofini says, first as said in a popular song by a popular Nigerian artist, there is freedom of speech, but freedom after speech, I cannot assure.
So, but you see, what I read earlier concerning people don't like opinionated people, because can we bring in the cultural part of it, because of the kind of people we are? Maybe we see all these opinionated people, you know, all this Western culture where they're speaking their mind, and we're thinking, okay, I can do this. And then we try it. Sorry?
Are they? Or
no, I'm just saying, like, sometimes you watch it on TV where you see people so expressive. You see a little child talking to a father, shut up, or he's telling that, mommy, I know, you know, stuff like, I don't like it, don't touch, you know. And you're thinking, okay, these are really confident kids, they're really confident. And you try to implement that in your own home, and like, okay, let my child speak her mind. And then she goes to grandma, you're stupid, or grandma, shut up, you know. And it's how we are raising our kids. We've not addressed how we are raising our children, because we are raising our children to
maybe the examples are not genuine for me.
Okay,
because a confident child, not necessarily an insultive or abusive.
Yeah, but you see, a child doesn't, at that moment doesn't know she's rude. It's you that will teach her that I am rude. Okay. But what she's feeling right now is grandma is too loud. Grandma, stop singing. You're disturbing me.
A child is innocent. They say what they see.
Exactly.
No,
my son once said to my mom, Grandma, why are you walking so slowly? Are you a tortoise? And one said to his grandfather, why are you staring at me like that? Are you a statue?
Yeah.
Even when the child says, I find somewhere to hide so that they settle between themselves. Because I know the child is innocent. They only say what they see. But you know the way we used to react? They'll say, Oja Funye Jenny, it's your mother that trained you. So we don't react and receive the child, which is why this conversation is so important.
Yes.
Take it on the way it is. Don't add to it, don't remove from it. If you need to address anything after.
So the grandmother should say, yes, I'm the tortoise?
No. For instance, my mother laughed. Even my father-in-law laughed at me because he knows the child. I'm saying
a child, but how do you raise that child to be mature going forward? So he doesn't want to tell his boss he's a tortoise.
If I was the one to say to my mom, why are you walking like a tortoise? She won't take it the way she took it for my son. Yeah. It's two different things. He's a child.
Okay, so I'll
take it the way.
We have to wrap up.
See, the truth is, see, that child, I'm sure you're talking of, we're talking 1 to 6 years old. You find that, you know, and many adults understand that age. And if they don't, you know, you as a parent, my auntie always says this of her son. She says when he was about that age, like all her in-laws had come to visit and they were seated, her son comes in and said, all of you are frogs. She said she wanted to faint. She called him aside and she taught him. You don't say that to people, you know. Yeah. So we already know that. But let's say your child is in secondary school and is in trouble and is in boarding school. Do you want your child to be the confident child that can speak up for himself? You know, there are a few times I've been worried about my son.
We have to run. But that's all we can take. We ran way out of time. Oh, that's all we can take on today's show. Hope you learned a few things as we have. See you tomorrow. Bye for now. 2 hours not enough.